Hey, what's up, YouTubers? Russ Navarro from Radical Custom Garage. I want to go over and kind of focus a little bit more on some of the stuff Michael and I was talking about, and I kind of thought over some questions that people might have, especially new business people from experience and uh, just people that may be running a business out of their garage or whatever and really aren't uh, up on all the business stuff. And I'm not saying that I am. I think a lot of it is trial and error for over the years. First thing is your business taxes, your state taxes, and your federal taxes. That's got to come off the top of your profit and stuff. If you're running it out of your garage and things, not so much. I know years past, I know my dad still had to. He run his television business out of the garage, and he still had that once he established, a good business and things. But when you first start out and things and you're doing it on the side, not so much. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. It's just one of them things that the person that's got the home business and doing it on the side plus holding down a job is probably, you're not making enough there to even worry about paying taxes. And I've got some notes here, so if I keep looking down, you'll understand. Uh, Another thing a lot of people don't think of, me particular, when I went into business, before I could even open the doors, when I had a shop in town, and I had a building that they considered a business. It was just like I called it like a little storage area, but it was big enough you could get 2 or 3 cars in, my dip tank, and I made a little office. A lot of people don't understand. Before I could even open the doors, the owner of the place I was renting it wanted me to have at least $1 million policy for the business. A lot of people don't understand that, you have to have insurance. I didn't realize that, the building had to be insured, plus what I was doing was considered a custom shop slash hydro dipping, and with the paint and things, it was in a total different area, so they had to write a policy. That cost me right around, I believe it was $200 a month, just for the insurance. That comes off plus your federal tax, plus your state tax, and your business tax. A lot of people don't think, especially I had a gentleman working for me and he hadn't been there like 3 or 4 weeks or so, and I let him go because, just the situation, it wasn't reliable. And, you don't take in consideration if you're doing a job for somebody and your help shows up late, and the help thinks that they need to get paid the same as uh, you paid them before, but the job wasn't done, or it was done at a later date, but you had to give a customer a break so they wouldn't be so ticked off at you. A lot of people don't understand that. When you go into business, you need to be prompt, and you need to be able to get the cars in and out. And if somebody puts a glitch in that, you're going to be the one that pays for it in the long run. The employee still wants their money, and the customer wants something done, or you can give them a break or whatever to keep them calm, because they've had to wait. A lot of people don't take that into consideration. I don't know on this one. I guess it'd be a question to yourself, If you've always worked for somebody and you go into business for yourself, me personally, I enjoyed working for myself. I enjoyed doing, some of the stuff. There was late nights, there was sometimes I didn't get home till midnight or after working on a special project, but it still gave me the satisfaction knowing that, when you go out and you're doing a quality job and that for a customer, and to see, I'll give you a particular, I was working on a gentleman's car when I had my previous shop and my other house. I had worked on a buddy's car for him, and we worked almost a week. He was getting ready for a car show, and it meant a lot to him. And we worked on it, and we just had some problems with the hood and things, and I told him to go on to the house. He come by, we undone the car and everything, and I was still working on a hood for him. I told him go ahead and go to the car show. I would bring the hood to him. I spent most of the night and half the morning getting the hood ready. Well, this particular car show, you had to be there at 8 o'clock, but they didn't start the judging till mid-afternoon, I believe it was. I got the hood done. I got it out of the, out of the paint booth. We went ahead and I called him and told him to meet me up in the parking lot, and we carried the hood down through the crowd, bolted it on, and as we were finishing putting the last bolt on, the judges come by. One of the judges kind of made a comment about, he had seen us walking across the parking lot with a hood, and he said, better late than never, huh, guys? And they knew, that I just freshly painted the hood. What made me feel and what was good about that part, it got me a lot of recognition. I do what it took to get the product to the person. He won a trophy. He won a first place trophy of all things in his class. It made him feel very, he was just ecstatic. He was stoked about it and everything. And that's one of the satisfactions, I guess, and I'm long-winded, I'm sure, on that aspect, got sidetracked. But, that's something, that kind of makes you feel good. And, when you do something like that and somebody wins a trophy that you've worked on a car or whatever, it kind of makes you feel bad. And I've got several stories like that. So, I know some of the, or most of the stuff that I've put out is quality. I know that, there's trophies to be won. I proved it with my Joker car. I've proved it with other cars and things. Another thing, and I may have touched on this in the past, but you're also, when you own your own business, you're the janitor, you're the bookkeeper, you're the, I guess what I want to say, the jack of all trades. A lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand that you just don't walk away. You may have a job and everything to do and that, and a customer going to pick the car up, but you still have to, have the receipts ready. You need to, be able to keep track of it. If you have, one of the little card things for scanning credit cards, you have to have all of that stuff. Yeah, some of it's free, some of it you have to pay monthly. That's another monthly cost that that haven't taken in effect. And if you mess up or, something's not right, that's, that comes out of your pocket. I'll be the first to tell you I've messed up. I messed up a customer's car, and it was one of them things that I probably jumped in over my head, but it's one of them deals. He's a very understanding person, and thank goodness, I broke even on it. I didn't charge him for it. He got free labor and that, and the fender got fixed on the car, and he took it to another shop. That was the only thing. I know the gentleman at the other shop, and hopefully, it wasn't, said that Radical Customs was the one that done it and messed it up. It's just one of them things that happens. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect, and you're going to get them projects or things that's not going to work out, and you better be prepared to man up and take the lumps. I'll just put it that way. A lot of people don't understand. Work is done, you've made money, and you're thinking, oh boy, I made pretty good on that. You still have all the business expenses in the shop and that. Then you have your household you still have to keep running, and that comes off the top after you've paid your business taxes, federal taxes, state taxes, excuse me, insurance. Then you might get a dime to be able to use for yourself, or in my case, I was putting it back into business to help, pay the rent and things like that. A lot of people don't think about the rent, and all that comes off the top before you even get paid. There was a couple times that I had zero balance, so basically I was working for free. I enjoyed doing my business and that, but that's one thing you have to take into consideration is, are you prepared to do that? A lot of people, especially when they've worked a 9-to-5 job, think that they just go into business and magically that money's there, and you got to have money to fall back on. You got to have money to what I call running capital. I was fortunate that I had somebody that helped me out a little bit. I purchased a dipping tank that was very expensive. I was making payments on it, plus I was doing paying the rent and stuff, and basically I'll be the first to tell you I was in over my head. I didn't know which way to run, really. Didn't know if I was trying to be successful. I had big dreams of being like Gas Monkey Garage or one of them, and didn't realize that there's trial and errors, and you're going to fail. I don't care who you are, or if you've got a whole lot of money, you got to have business savvy. It don't matter if you're a millionaire or if you're a entrepreneur and you're down at the bottom. You still have a learning curve, and don't think you're going to jump into business and know the business. You're still going to have the school of hard knocks. You're going to run into things that you're not going to know what to do, or and you're going to look for somebody to maybe guide you a little bit. I had a gentleman that I kind of knew a little bit, that he'd come by the shop, and we'd talk about it because he'd had a business. He knew what it was. He knew the school of hard knocks, and that's one thing I really am fortunate of, that there's a lot of you out there know I have a little bit of dyslexia and that, and I feel for somebody that's had a challenge in that aspect, and that for me to have a business, and I feel I was fairly successful at my business. It was just, I give myself credit for even stepping out there and doing it. There's a lot of people that'll tell you you can or you won't or whatever, but until you take the initiative to get out there and do it yourself, you don't have nothing, on the other guy. I'll just put it that way. I feel, and this is going to be a little harsh, but if you have never run a business and you've never been in that position or whatever, you really probably ought to keep your mouth shut. Let your friends learn, you have to give them credit because at least they're taking the initiative to get out and, believe in themselves and do they want to be their own boss, or they want to be, and if they fail at it, that's okay too. There's a lot of us that aren't business savvy. I'll probably do this part-time, or I've done it part-time quite a bit. I've done several cars. I know that my work, I've won several shows. I've got trophies. Not me personally. I mean, I have in the past with my car, but I'm talking people's vehicles that paid me money to do a car, and I got paid and they ended up getting a trophy or something, and to see the look on their face meant more to me than the monetary part. That person had never been to a car show. They never had thought that they would ever get anything, and that's one of the things that means a lot when your work is quality enough to win a trophy. And I'm long-winded here, sorry. Somebody had asked me this, and how the person asked me, how can you go back working for somebody else when you was your own boss, and is it worth going back to work for somebody else? Yes, and no. And what I mean by that is I enjoyed working for myself. I liked that I had the freedom there. I did not like doing paperwork. Those of you that know me, I have a very hard time with stuff. I did it. I had my own computer. I had a lady that would show me different things, but most of the time it was on me. Yes, part of that aspect, I'm glad that I don't have to worry about my business, state, federal taxes, things like that. I don't have to worry about payroll. I don't have to worry where the next dollar's coming for rent, if I'm going to make the rent payment. Is it going to come out of my pocket? With my business here at the house, I can regulate what I do, when I do it. If somebody wants to get in a hurry, I just tell them come get the ride or whatever and move on. I don't have to be the businessman that, be the nice guy. That's one thing when you own your own business and you're in business, and don't get me wrong, that don't make you to where you could be a butt to people, but you don't have to take a lot of crap. When you're paying rent and insurance and things like that, you're more apt to take a lot more crap. I do miss the aspect of it, but I don't miss the aspect of, I go to work, do my job, and I do it well. I feel that, when you own your own business, you got to go above and beyond that. Plus, make the customer happy. If you have employees, you got to make them happy. And you also have to put up with a lot of different negativity. You'll get people come in and try to tell you what you're going to do when it's your business. That's one thing I had a big problem with, is people come in, well, you're going to. I'm not going to do anything, I've, excuse the language, but I've pissed some people off to where they've walked out the door because they were mad because I was going to do it their way, and they found out real quick that I asked them, did you go to school for this? Did you pay the money out to do this? If you know so much about it, then why are you bringing it to me? It's not whether or not you have the knowledge and stuff. It's whether or not you have the knowledge to follow through. And some of them I knew they couldn't follow through. I had a guy bring me a gun, wanted me to dip it, and he brought it back. And being I wanted to charge him more for the gun because he'd screwed it up because he thought he knew what he was doing, thought I was taking advantage of him. That aspect, I don't have time for them people. Either you want me to do it right and do a quality job, or you can go on down the road, and that's the aspect. I'm sure in the retail part of it, I'm sure a lot of people will put up with a little bit more than I would, but it goes with anybody that owns a trucking company, anybody that owns like my dad had a television business. I'd heard him several times, tell customers, that, if you don't care, or if you don't want me to have it very long, the parts are on order, and that if you don't want me to fix it, and you don't want to wait, you can go ahead and take it to somebody else, but they're going to have to do the same thing I do. We don't keep parts on hand. You either can wait for it, or, you can go on down the road. Once again, got sidetracked. And I'm going to try to shorten this up a little bit more, but if you say mess a customer car up and that, and you don't know, I don't know how to word this. You know that you've messed it up and that, but you have to figure how you're going to fix the problem. And is that customer going to be understanding? Is that customer, going to, we live in a sue crazy world, and, there's a lot of people that are just looking for you to mess up. When you own your own business and you have a shop and you're doing custom stuff, say that, I'm using that because that's the situation I was in. A lot of times owning your own business with the insurance and things like that, you better be prepared or have the insurance part, like, I had to have $1 million policy or whatever. If you don't have that and you're running a business, and I know several businesses, I've talked to a dry cleaner that I just couldn't believe he didn't have business insurance. I was flabbergasted because I had asked him, I said, well, what happens if somebody walks in your store, and I knew his building leaked, and there's that puddle of water over there that you don't get to, and grandma comes in, slips and falls and breaks her hip. I said, how are you going to pay for that? And he looked me dead in the face and told me, he said, I really don't know. And I said, do you realize they can not only sue your business, but they could sue you too? He had no clue. I don't know where he got his, I know he started from the bottom. He was not the original owner of the dry cleaner. The gentleman that owned it was his father-in-law. He got sick. The son-in-law took the business over. I don't know that he had any experience with the business part of it. I just seen a lot of things that really surprised me that I knew, and I hadn't been in business that long to know that, you know, you need to have insurance. You need to, you know, be covered in that aspect. And that's one thing, you know, when you're running it out of your shop or house or whatever, you're a little bit more lenient. You don't have to do that stuff. I've got a disclosure clause. I have people sign, you know, if I'm going to work on somebody's car I don't know, and that I'll make sure I get a lot of pictures of the car, around the car. I've got a notebook here that I write down, document stuff that I know was wrong with the car before it come in, and just different things that, you know, that way it don't come back on you. You know, and I have a friend that, thank goodness, you know, he done the same thing. He painted a gentleman's truck and stuff. The guy come back a year later, was trying to say, you know, he done a lousy job painting and that, and they went to court over it. And the gentleman that painted the vehicle had pictures of it, how it turned out, what, you know, how the guy was always rushing him, trying to hurry him up and everything. He had all the documentation. The other guy had nothing to go on except a couple pictures of the truck after it was painted. He had run into something. You could see that it was scratched up where they'd kind of tried to buff it out, and then the paint had started deteriorating from that point. The other gentleman won, you know, and the sad thing about it, the guy that took him to court, he had to pay court costs and everything. So for him pulling a stunt like that, trying to get a little extra, it ended up costing him more in the long run. That's what I'm only saying, you know, cover yourself. I think that's everything I have. You know, I told you I want to go a little bit into depth on it today. This is part 2 of Russ's Garage. You know, Michael and I collaborated. He's putting video and editing and things on his video, so watch out for it in the next couple days. And I apologize to you guys. I know I told you the other night that I tried to get his link. I had a hard time getting it linked up and that, but I finally got it. So once again, like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button. That way when him or I, either one, put out videos, you'll know that we're putting them out. And I know this one was a little long-winded, but I want to try to get a video out this morning, and, you know, just be the best you can in 2020. Treat others like you'd like to be treated. God bless. Have a blessed day, and we will see you in the next video.